here with Coach Blair Wilson, who began his coaching career in Pine Grove Manor Elementary School, and now he is the head varsity coach right here at Franklin High School. And one of his favorite students, and I know he has several favorite students, but one who has stood out for him and whose attention he brought us to tell his story. Now, Blair Wilson, in and of himself, has a story, and if we could encapsulate that, it would be Blair Wilson teaches 75% life, 25% football, but 75% life. And that's the difference. And when he takes a kid who has other things that they need to get into their lives, such as knowing how to tie a tie, or how to balance a checkbook, or some of the things that we take for granted that we know how to do, but is not being taught anywhere. This is what Blair Wilson does. Now, he's got a whole program that I would like for him to tell us a little bit more about, and have you embrace this, Franklin, because it's not just all about sports. Sports is very, very important for so many levels. It teaches team spirit, team cooperation, coordination, responsibility, reactivity, things that we do need this in life, but there's so much more. Blair, tell us more.
Thank you. Definitely, I started in Pop Warner, coming up through the ranks, and I developed a program that was passed down to me by Ed and Doris Wilson, my parents. We learned a lot in my house. It was a very sports-driven house, but it was also education was in the forefront. And when I became coaching, I sat back and thought, how can I coach kids and get them to be student athletes and become better young men in the process. Mm-hmm. So what my program is, I teach the kids more than just football. We go out and we do community service. We have gone to the Ronald McDonald House in New Brunswick, clean their house, cut their grass, trim their bushes. We've given out food at food banks in the Franklin and Elijah Promise in New Brunswick. And we do any community service I could find for the kids to be a part of, I push them. So to be on my team, you have to do 3 community services. And I always tell them when we go to the food bank, some kids aren't worried about the next Jordan 4s that are coming into the house. They're worried about the next potatoes coming into the house. Right. And not everybody has the luxury to go to a refrigerator, open a refrigerator, and just have the choice or whatever. So those are things I just try to open the eyes of these young men. In the process, I'm building them. I'm building confidence in them. I make them get up and speak in front of the team in our team meetings. And like you said, we teach them how to tie ties, balance checkbooks, hygiene is a big thing we stress. And it's just a program that I've been doing for over 10 years now, and I brought it up to the high school level. And some of the kids have followed me throughout my each level I've gone up, and I've been have the luxury of kids that have just followed with me, came all the way up to the big leagues, we like to call it, is varsity football, and we've just been creating great young men. And today we're going to hear to talk about Joseph Nwachukwu. Is a kid that is a testament of my program. There's a lot of other kids I've taught and coached, hundreds of kids that have gone on and do successful things. But today is about Joseph Nwachukwu, and he's a testament of my program.
Joe, come over.
Come on in, Joe.
So that we can see.
Yeah. So Joe, I started coaching Joe. He was 10 years old. A shy, chubby little kid. Definitely didn't like to talk at all. He just went through the program. He's steadfast. He stuck with us, and every vocal and more confident. So that's the whole thing, is just to build confidence in each kid. But each kid in our program desires a different part of the program. Okay, some kids come in confident. that we don't have to build their confidence up. And there's some kids that come in, like Joe came in, he wasn't that confident. So we had to build his confidence up. And so it's just a melting pot of kids. So each kid you have to coach is different. I always tell the kids, I'm going to treat you all the same but different. And it just goes to show, like, Joe stuck with our program. Even when we got to high school, Joe had even in high school, he had a lot of offers to go to other high schools. They were more attractive. He could go here, play here, start here, do this. And he, one thing I could say, he was loyal. He was able to earn a preferred walk-on at Rutgers.
Wow.
And he's just the type of kid in our program which we teach them to have confidence in yourself. At first, it's me having more confidence in them than they have in themselves. And then at the end of the program, they have all the confidence in themselves. And that's when I am ready, almost like a mother bird pushing them out the nest. Go fly, go and see what the world and see what the world has, and go be great in today's world. And that's what Joe has done. He's bet on himself. He's gonna go walk on. Coaches at Rutgers love him, and he's just a great kid. A 3.6 GPA average.
Wow.
Coming out of high school. He's Mr. Popular in the hallways. But sometimes I sit back and look at him and just say, gosh, man, this little kid I met at 10, and look at him now. He's not chubby. You can't find an ounce of fat on him now. And he's really became a great young man. And at this point, I have to call him a man. And he's really stuck to our mantra. And he's really made me proud, and his parents proud, and his family's proud. All what I poured into Joe came to a head the night we walked out of the Hale Center and leaving Coach Ciano's office after they officially offered, and he accepted his preferred walk-on. And we embraced, gave a hug, and I just told him, like, thank you for trusting in me and sticking with me when some others didn't, trust that I was able to get kids in the position to play football after high school. And Joe trusted in me, and we got it done. And that moment right there was what I do all this for. That moment right there, to see him. He doesn't smile that much often, but that smile and how he looked, and just, he knows I'm a crier. I started crying in the parking lot, but it's just proud of what I poured into him. And some kids you pour and pour and pour, but they don't receive it. And I'm just thankful that Joe was willing to receive what we poured into him over the past 8 years. And he's a fine young man. And I always tell people, just in general, when they ask me about a young man on my football team, and if I feel he's a great young man and good man, I always say I would let him date my daughter.
Whoa, that's high praise.
Yeah, that's high praise. And yeah, definitely Joe, I wouldn't mind Joe come knocking on my door and dating my daughter. So that's how I kind of describe young men, and that's the standard I try to get them to. Like, I would be proud for my daughter to bring this young man home.
Well, you certainly, Coach Wilson, have been a role model to so many of these young men. Again, as you've brought them up from grammar school to Franklin High School, and you've developed yourself certainly as a role model, but you have developed in Joe a role model for others. That his journey, and I'd like Joe to tell us a little bit about your journey. I mean, when you started in elementary school, did you have any idea you'd be walking off a choice at Rutgers in your career, in your lifetime, the achievement that is to bring you to that moment?
No, I would have no idea getting that preferred walk-on, because when I first started playing football, I was just doing it for fun to stay in shape. But then when I met Coach Blair, he pushed me to my limits. Like, he pushed me to to the most I could do, everything. When I kept running, even though when I was trying to give up, when I was like 10 years old, he would still push me to, like, I couldn't even, like, breathe, couldn't run. He would still push me.
Did you do that?
But it got me better, though. That's where I am right now.
Yeah, I'm not making light of that
Nah.
because there's push, and then there's genuine push,
Right.
and there's belief in another young man, and that comes through. This is not just a coach who says you're doing it because I'm the coach. You're doing this because it's for you, and it's for your development and for your betterment and for your becoming all that you were meant to be in this life. And it sounds like you've had an amazing start with Coach Blair Wilson.
Yeah, I did have a great start with Coach Blair Wilson. Because when he started coaching me in Pop Warner, he started developing me, and then up to middle school, that's when my body started changing because I stayed with Coach Blair, so he kept working with me. And then that's when he sent me up to the high school. He sent me up to the high school ready because my freshman year, that's when I started getting on varsity as well because he got me ready for high school. And then sophomore year, I was starting varsity. Junior year, that's when he came take over. He was a head coach here. And then he developed me more as a football player and more as a man. And then when my senior year here, there was other schools that was trying to reach out to me to come and get me. But then Coach Blair, I stuck with him through my whole life. So it's like I can't leave him because I got to stay loyal. So then I stuck through it throughout the whole season. After the season, still stayed with Coach Blair. We was in touch. Coach Blair got me to where I am today.
Why do you think other colleges pursued you? What do you think is best about Joe?
Other colleges?
Two questions. Why do you think other colleges, it's really one question, sought you out and wanted you to come play for them?
Yeah, it was high schools.
It was high schools.
Other high
Okay, other high schools who pursued you. What do you think about you made that so attractive for other schools to want you to go there, and yet you stayed here at Franklin?
Other schools, they was reaching out to come get me and stuff because they would just start to see how, like, Franklin, they wasn't winning many games. And then, like, they'll also see my measures. They'll see my tape. They'll try and come and get me to come to their schools. But I wasn't really going for it because Coach Blair, I had to stick with Coach Blair. And then he got me right throughout my whole high school and middle school and Pop Warner. So I can't, if I left and went to another school, there's a possibility I might not get playtime. I might not get that same connection and bond as other coaches. So that's why I stuck through.
Yeah, well, you had not only an authority figure, but someone who really cared about you. And that's what this man's reputation has always been throughout the school system, that he cares. And it's not an accident that your motto is, I teach 25% football and 75% life. Because without that 75%, it almost doesn't matter if you play football or you play hockey or kickball or you play nothing. If you haven't got that 75% to propel you to seek out your own excellence, then what's the point? What's the point?
So to speak to that point, those schools wanted Joe. Okay, they didn't love Joe.
Ooh.
So if you leave someplace if you go someplace you're wanted, and you leave someplace you're loved, you know, it's like the 80-20 rule. You're chasing 20% and you're leaving 80. So and Joe stayed loyal, and loyalty is really a big thing with me, and I'm happy that he stayed loyal. I'm happy for him because you never know what it's on the other side of the fence. It may look greener, but there's reasons those grasses are green. It's not always water, you know. So just happy he stuck with me, that we could, finish out this run, and the finish line is to me to get him in, help him get into school. Okay, and then he could go earn a scholarship. Today in today's recruiting, there's something called the portal, and the college portal, and it's not very conducive to high school football players.
In what way?
Well, the portal, explain the portal. Portal is where college kids can go into a portal, and it's almost like free agency. So they can go in this portal and leave their college. And they're in there, and other colleges can come in and pick these kids out of the college. So what's happening now, colleges are not recruiting high school players. A lot of colleges are just going in the portal and getting ready-made players.
Wow.
So they're getting, instead of going and get an 18-year-old, they're going in the portal and getting a 20-year-old that's already adjusted to college, already been through a college football practice, and they can just plug them in and play. High school kids are not attractive to college coaches anymore due to the portal. So for Joe to earn a preferred walk-on, that's great. You know, that's most of the time these kids are going to JUCOs, junior colleges, prep schools, post-grad institutions to try to get into a four-year college to play football. So Joe earning a preferred walk-on is tremendous, and it just shows the work he put in, and is able to go over, and he's going to go and put a lot more work in. That's why I told Shiano, you know, don't worry. He's not scared of work. He's not shy about work, and he's going to work. And I have no doubt in my mind Joe will go and earn his a scholarship. And I always tell the boys, man, football is just a catalyst to get a better education, even if you can get a free education or even have to play partial. But let's try to get an education, and then you meet so many different people in the world through football, you know. And so I'm just proud of him to be able to, like I said, he's betting on himself, and I know he'll do well. I know he'll do real well.
Yeah, this is Greg Schiano?
Yes, Greg Schiano, yes.
Right. And his position at Rutgers is?
He's the head football coach at Rutgers.
Okay, so you went right to the top. You went right to the top, to the guy who's going to make the decisions.
Yeah, he makes all the decisions. Okay. You know, the recruiting process is you deal with his assistant coaches, and then you have to go see the big guy to get his blessings. And he's a Franklin. Shiano's kind of a Franklin guy. I don't know, a lot of people know Shiano's three sons played Pop Warner football in Franklin.
All right.
So he knows about the Franklin athletes, and he knows all the Franklin chants, and he's not shy about letting people know about Franklin. And he had a good experience. His boys had a very good experience playing football in Franklin.
Nonetheless, a man of that stature is not going to sacrifice his professionalism just because he's Franklin-centric.
Right.
He's looking for talent.
Oh, yes.
He's looking for who and what are going to accent his team, his school, his reputation. So the fact that he chose you, Joe, for this position. Now, for those who don't know what this position actually is, this walk-on preferred status, can you explain what that is and why they chose Joe for it?
Okay, so there's a walk-on, and then there's a preferred walk-on. A walk-on could be anybody that goes to Rutgers, and they hold open tryouts, and you could come and try out for the football team. A preferred walk-on is someone that basically they missed out on being able to scholarship them as a kid, because they're only allowed X amount of scholarships on a football team. So sometimes they run out of scholarships, but they still feel like this kid is a scholarship kid. Hey, come walk on. So you automatically are gonna be a walk on. You're gonna be on the team. Everything. It's not like you walk on. Other walk-ons walk on, and they have to really earn their spot on the team. He's gonna have to do the same thing, but he's just a step above that. They asked him to come walk on. The other people, chose to walk on. So it's a value of him. They love his film. They love his enthusiasm. Sorry, but he has his quick twitch motion. So sky's the limit for Joe. This is all what he puts into it, and I know he'll put 110% in it. Wow. He's putting it on 110. He's working out. I think he moves in on next week. So he's right. He's on his way.
Wow.
He's on his way. So he's going to be a Big Ten football player.
Oh my goodness! What does that do to you when he says that?
That makes me feel great, because I didn't know I would be here this day, being a Big Ten football player. But he made it happen.
Well, you're on your way. Now, I'm going to ask you both the same question, but from a different perspective. What, let's say, 3 top characteristics of this young man has put him in the position he's in right now? If you could just give us your top 3 role model qualifications that Joe has succeeded in fulfilling.
Joe is very humble. hardworking, and he embraces the spotlight. Embraces pressure situations. I can go on and on with all types of adjectives to describe Joe. Just one thing, he's just a great kid, and he holds a very special part in my heart, place in my heart, and he's gonna. I just want him to succeed. Just want him to get a college education. I don't care if he steps a foot on the field while he's there for 4 years, but I do want him to step across that stage in 4 years with a degree.
Wow.
And that's what I'm going to be most proud about, Joe, him walking away with a degree from Rutgers.
Because that enables beyond the scope of football.
Yeah, football has an expiration date.
Right.
So that's what I always tell my boys, man. Football has an expiration date. It's a young man's sport, and you're gonna need. Everybody's not going to the pros. You're gonna need a degree or some type of trade or something to manage in this world today. And that's just what I instill in them. That's what my parents instilled in me, and I'm gonna pass that on to all the boys that I can.
Hence the life skills. That's why that's so important to this coach. That's why he's here as the head coach. What would you say, in addition to what the coach said, what do you think your top 3 best qualities are?
I feel like as a player and as a man, I feel like I'm disciplined. I'm very caring, like, to my other teammates. I'll pick them up. I even yell at them to get them right back on track. Even with their schoolwork, if they're in school messing around, I get them on track because I care for them. And I'm very hardworking. I always work hard for anything I want.
Is that going to change once you hit Rutgers?
No, that's not going to change. It's going to stay the same. We're going to keep. Once we get up to Rutgers, we're going to keep chopping too.
What does keep chopping mean?
It's a saying at Rutgers, you have to keep chopping. That's when you have to keep working hard. It has to do with trust, family, and all that.
Trust. Huge. That's what they have with Coach Blair Wilson. And this is just this is a microcosm, Franklin. Joe embodies exactly what Coach Blair Wilson has been preaching since he began in the grade school areas, that you lead with your heart and the skills follow. And it's been a remarkable journey, which is nowhere near being the end of the journey. No. But we have a perfect example of what you have been espousing, from the beginning. The life skills, integrating with an innate sport talent, and you whip it all together. And you've got a stellar player who knows about the rest of the story.
Yes, a wonderful and student athlete. Let me say it again. Joe has a 3.6 GPA.
Fabulous.
Yes, and it shows in the classroom. He works hard on the field. He works hard in the classroom, and that's just me. He's a perfect example for you young kids out there. You cannot get anywhere without grades. All right, Joe will tell you, you need grades. If Joe's grades weren't up to par, he would not have been even looked at. There's a lot of great players. These colleges see tape after tape after film of great players, but when they ask for the transcript, it's horrible. So you got to do the work in the classroom and do the work on the field. If you can't do the work in the classroom, what you do on the field doesn't mean anything.
Well, it's a reflection of what you're willing to do to strive toward excellence. And that transcends on just so many levels. But it's a reflection of your character, that you've not only worked hard to be a prime athlete, you've worked hard to be a prime man. And you've worked hard to be a prime friend and someone who can inspire others. And if you had a kid who comes into Franklin High School and he's interested in football, what would you say to him about the program that Blair Wilson has taught for you? And would you want that kid to be involved?
I would say this is a great program to come into in the hands of Coach Blair, and I do want the kid to be involved in football, and I hope that he takes it serious, because Coach Blair, he only likes players that come in, take their schoolwork serious, and they're on the field serious. No playing around, no nothing. They have to be serious about their stuff. So when he comes up here, I'll tell him all about how this program is great. It will develop you as a man, as a player, and then leave it there.
Well, that's a big, tall order, but you are an example that it not only can be done, but is done, and it's done well. It's done with excellence. Coach Blair, if there's a
Become part of the program, of course you have to be enrolled in Franklin High School. If you're a rising ninth grader, that means in your 8th grade and you're graduating and you're interested in playing football, just you can contact me at my email, blairwilson@franklinboe.org, and we'll get you all set up, get your physical, get your paperwork straight, and then the journey begins. But be ready to work hard and have fun. Joe will tell you, I'm not the fun police. I'm a fun coach too. Some people think I'm stern. They see my scowl and everything, but it's time for business and it's time for fun. And I love having fun, but I love getting down to business and making this happen, and just getting kids to the next level. If it's getting a kid to be able to go into a trade school, go into a 2-year college, a 4-year college, or just getting them a job. I have a program called the Fifth Down, where I go and help kids that after they graduate, because a lot of kids after they graduate on the 20th, and on the 21st, it really hits them like, whoa, what am I going to do? Now what am I going to do? So I use my connections to find them jobs. Some of them are not career jobs. They're just jobs to hold them over until we can help and try to find them career jobs, and so they can figure it out. And so my reach goes beyond Franklin High School. The 4 years I have them. Once you're mine, you're mine. I don't have any sons, so I get new sons every year. Wow. And I just try to treat them as such. And some good men did the same thing for me throughout my growing up and everything. But we're just really just trying to, if you come here, we're working hard. We're building something special here. And we're really going to show a lot of people some good stuff this year. This year is going to be a very good year for Franklin football.
Wow. Well, we are really, really looking forward to that. Definitely. And you got one more year out on this field. So you're done. You're done. Oh no, I missed a whole year of you. Well, not exactly. I know I've seen you out there, but now the rest of the story is so exciting to see a product of everything that you have believed in since you began your educational journey. And Joe, you're the example. You're the example. Yeah, and you are the coach.
He's what I've created this program. And he's gone through it from 10, and he's just a great example to these younger kids. Just his mentoring of the kids this year was great, because we had a lot of young kids on the team, and he was able to be the big brother and know when to pick them up and know when to noodle them and get them back in line. Leaned on him a lot this year for his leadership, and then I'm thankful that he's going to go on to a great institution as Rutgers. Great coaching staff, a great coach like Greg Schiano, that is going to further his process of becoming a man. And I'm happy to turn him over to Rutgers and take it the rest of the way. I'll still be there, but I'll be in the background.
I know you're never in the background. This has been amazing. I want to thank you, Blair Wilson, for inspiring this program and for making sure that it happens, and for seeing the hidden talents in somebody like Joe and so many other young men who've benefited from your kindness as well as your skill and as well as your leadership. And that's the best way to lead, folks. Lead by example, lead by excellence, and always lead with your heart. So I want to thank Blair Wilson. And Joe, please pronounce your last name for us.
Nwachukwu.
Joe Nwachukwu, who is the product of this excellence, of this leadership, and of this spirit of Go Warriors. PJ Parker, Franklin Reporter and Advocate, so happy to be here. We'll be back. So happy to be here. We'll be back.